I want to just take a few moments to talk about the craft of practicing law.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. So we know you love the law. What do you see as the entertainment lawyer specifically? What is your primary responsibility to your client?
I think you are, first of all, I always say to my clients, I got a license to do this. I am licensed by the state of California, and there are a series of codes and ethics that I'm supposed to adhere to. Mm-hmm. And I always think of myself as, my role in this is to know the law, to be good at my craft, but also to be the voice of counsel and reason when it comes to making decisions. So I take that very, very seriously. And I think that often my clients or other people have said to me, oh, you have such an approach that's so different from what lawyers do. I said, no, this is what lawyers do. You know what I heard? Counselor at law, give counsel, right. Give advice, be someone who helps someone to make a decision within the boundaries of the law. Yeah, that's what I think it is. Mm.
Are there ever any lines or lanes that you maybe aren't comfortable with or you wish were different that gave you more latitude, say like between the agent, the manager, the lawyer, anything like that?
No, I don't feel that so much. I think the thing that I do feel sometimes is I wish that sometimes, you know, because there are so many familiar things about our business. When I say familiarities about the way we treat each other, and I think sometimes a little formality is not so bad. You know, so I'm friendly with my clients, but I'm very rarely best friends with them. You know, because I want to have a professional relationship, and also, quite frankly, I want to have a relationship with my family that is separate and distinct in my own. So yeah, I feel sometimes I wish that this wasn't so much a hey-ya kind of business, as one of my partners says.
Do you have anything that you wish was different within the parameters of the legal construct as it is? Say, is there a law you would change that you think is just a time to be thrown out, or that has hindered you in your client negotiations?
Not so much a law that I would change, but I would certainly change, I think, if I had my way, I would want people to see the law as virtuous, as something that can be for the good. I mean, one of the things I love about the Time's Up Legal Defense Fund, you know, when you think about it, there were a lot of lawyers that were part of that process of the NDAs, of the settlement agreements, of the payoffs. You know, I think Robbie Kaplan said it so well one day, that the way lawyers influence this process is they were either hiding, and I want that to change. I don't want us to be associated. I want us to be the people who maybe didn't do so well before, but are going to be the agents of change going forward.
Mm. So Frances McDormand popularized that term inclusion rider in her acceptance
Well, I think
speech.
Stacey Smith would say she popularized it.
She coined it, I think.
Yes.
I think Frances might have
popularized
a lot
it.
more people have heard
Right.
it then. Can you explain what that is and if there's other tools that you see where the law really could be a weapon in this fight that you're in now?
The inclusion rider is the notion that in the negotiation of an agreement for talent particularly, you are able to ask for certain types of provisions within a deal that require that there be more diverse hiring, more gender parity within departments and infrastructure, and that if you don't do those things, that there are penalties to be paid for not doing them, and an obligation to report so that when you're not doing it, it's clear that you're not doing it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And are there other ways that you see the law as a tool or a weapon?
Well, I think the only thing I would say is that as much as I support the inclusion rider and the notions, the things that the inclusion rider, I think education ultimately, because at the end of the day, the inclusion rider can only affect a fraction of production. I think education is still the best way. When you look at somebody like Ava, who insists on her projects that half of the department heads be women. Well, once she decides that, it's all easy from there because they hire the right people.
Right.
You know? So it's almost like you don't have to say, you have to interview. I think the inclusion rider, you know, not, again, it's a living document, requires you to interview up to X number of candidates, and each of those But if you just hire the right people, as Ava does, you're going to get that diversity and inclusion because they don't know how to do it any other way. You know, on the way here, I was listening to a podcast that was interviewing Ruth Carter.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what Ruth Carter is? And she said that on Black Panther, she hired 60 people in her costume department.
Mm-hmm.
I would bet they weren't 60 white men. You know,
Right.
I would bet on that one, right?
Right. Yeah.
Were there white men? Absolutely. But I bet there were a lot of other people. And why? Because it was Ruth Carter.